of the decisions people make are based on emotion. Even people who think that they're being swayed by logic have emotion behind that. They want to be known as someone who is only motivated by logic. Now, when someone appeals to you on the basis of logic, then they're going after your conscious mind. But if a loquacious salesperson appeals to you on the basis of emotion, you might not even know what's happening before you agree to it. I like to cover 4 of the many points he points out in this article as triggers of influence. The first being contrast, connection, obligation, and scarcity. Now, contrast, I use, for example, let's say you're going to Valley Fair Mall, you have a very limited shopping budget for clothes. Let's just say $150. You walk into the Gap, you see a pair of blue jeans that look very good, you try them on, they fit perfectly, and then you check the price tag, it's $80. Well, that's over half your shopping budget. You might be inclined to think twice or just put it off. But what, on the other hand, if after you try them on and see how good they look, the price tag says, today marked down from $130 to $80. Well, that contrast might lead you to be more inclined to purchase the jeans. Another example, although I know any real estate people in this audience would not do this, but he gives the example of a real estate agent who wants a prospect to buy a certain house. And the first house they show them will be very shabby and run down. The second house is the one they want the prospect to go for. And by contrast, it looks that much better and they'll be more inclined to go for it. Connectivity is the second one. Now, this is something that is generated by you're getting the other person to feel as if you have something in common. So the salesperson might, for example, be well-trained in neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. This is really a science of influence. One of the words they use a lot is rapport. How do you generate rapport? Well, one thing you can look at a person's posture when you're in a face-to-face selling situation, and the salesperson, if they see you're leaning forward in your chair, they'll lean forward in their chair. If they see you cross your leg, they may cross their leg, and so on. It's really a science, even points out ways you can look at a person's eyes and tell if they're looking in a certain direction, if they're accessing a memory or thinking about it, or if they're lying, for that matter. If it's not a face-to-face situation and you're just on the phone, you can listen for their tone of voice, the volume at which they're speaking, and how quickly they speak. And in general, in terms of connectivity, people have different modalities. For example, if the salesperson is speaking with you and you respond with phrases like, I see what you're saying, I get the picture, that tags you as a visual person, and they're inclined to appeal to you on a visual way. A more moderate pacing of language visual people talk more quickly. The more moderate one would be auditory, and the salesman will be listening for things like, that sounds good to me, I hear what you're saying. And then the third modality is kinesthetic. It's the least common, the slowest pacing of speech. And the person in that modality, the salesperson, will be listening for them to say things like, I don't know, this just doesn't quite feel right to me. That's the connectivity. And the third is obligation reciprocity. Let's say, for example, I'm a salesperson at a 24-hour fitness. And Jim walks into the club and I say, oh, hello, I'm Andrew, and you are?
I'm Jim.
What brings you into the club today?
Yes, I'm interested in joining today.
Oh, okay, well, come with me and I'll show you around. Now let's take a slightly different scenario. Hi, I'm Andrew, and you are?
I'm Jim.
What brings you into the club today?
Yes, I'm interested in joining today.
Okay, well here, let me grab you a fresh bottle of cool mineral water and we'll take a look around. Now, just by having given him something for free, I've set up a certain sense in him that maybe he needs to reciprocate by paying more attention to the visit and be more likely to join the club. Another example of obligation reciprocity is charities. I'm sure we're all familiar with getting mailings from charities these days with anything from address labels to notepads to gift cards, Christmas cards, and even some beautiful calendars. And all of these are ways in which they're trying to set up the need for you to reciprocate by donating to the charity. The fourth way of influencing you that you're going to come across, and I'm sure any of you who are on the internet these days looking at special offers know about this one, it's called scarcity. And the scarcity is where they're going to present you with a super special offer, but for a limited time only. And in fact, more sites than ever these days I'm seeing actually have counters on them. They'll say, 3 days, 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 37 seconds before the offer expires. Or if you're one of the first 17 people to call in, you'll get a free consultation with me, normally costing $150. So you're placing limits on people, restrictions, or perhaps it might say something like, there's only 50 people that can get into this seminar, so if you're among the first 50, you'll be in, otherwise forget about it. So then almost you feel like there's a competition that's been set up between you and these other people, and you want to make sure you can jump in and take advantage. So I hope that armed with these triggers of influence, you'll be less likely to be influenced on an unconscious level. That is, contrast, connection, obligation, reciprocity, and scarcity.